The camera adds length.
Oh, it adds 10 pounds.
Depending on where you're getting a shot from, it could be both.
Welcome back, everyone, to S1E1, a show where each week we pick a different sitcom, watch just the first televised episode, and forgetting anything we might know about the future run of that show, rate it and decide if it's a show we want to greenlight or cancel. This week we're going to be talking about Mrs. Brown's Boys. Mrs. Brown's Boys went 49 episodes over 4 series on BBC1 in England and RTÉ1 in Ireland. They were talking about episode 1, which was called The Mammy, originally airing February 19th, 2011. So to get things started, I'm Jay Gags. With me, as always, the boys, most of them, Berg, Joe, and Gordo. No Nick this week. What's going on, guys?
Oh, Kovacs, you wicked monkey.
Mahmoud, my mama, Jibadad, I can't get back up again.
No, that's not what I thought your opening line was going to be.
Our Iran downloads are going to fucking tank this week. Ferg, thank you for saying that, because this show is definitely Mrs. Doubtfire's show at the end of the...
Yep.
At the end of the movie, mixed with either Peter Sellers or Monty Python, mixed with Mama's Family, mixed with Kenny versus Spenny when they're drunk.
It's kind of Mama's Family meets Medea.
Yeah.
Mrs. Brown is in the newest Medea movie, by the way.
Oh, no shit. I didn't know that.
Cool.
Sure.
An interesting thing real quick behind the curtain on this, we take notes, we look everybody up. I think this is so interesting and kind of cool. Almost everybody in this cast, so easy to look up. Almost everything they've ever been in is just this.
Yeah, they're all
just
related.
in every iteration of the Mrs. Brown shows. But I love that. This works. You don't have to do other work. Fuck it. Why would you go do other stuff? You're making money. You're doing this.
The irony is they were all in Mantis.
If only.
If only. So yeah, out of the 49 episodes, I mean, this is, again, a show that was, it's set in Ireland, but recorded in England. It's, so BBC, and just as we've talked about a lot of different English series, kind of works a little different than our American seasons do, where they're usually very short, and they love doing the side specials. So here, out of the 49 episodes, 27 of them are not part of the 4 series. They're all like Christmas specials and things like that.
Those will all get some play this December, by the way. If I can get those. Not a lot of this is available in the US. I don't know if all of those are on BritBox.
They have to be.
I've been thinking about getting BritBox, so maybe this will be the reason around the holidays.
I'll tell you this. My mom fucking loves this show. Loves this show. Yeah. So when Gordo picked it, I was like relieved because I almost felt obligated at some point to sneak it in just as like even though she doesn't listen to our show, just to be like, hey, guess what we're covering?
Yeah, I did that. Actually, I was talking to my mother last night, and my mother said, oh, she's very funny.
My mom watches like the YouTube clips and like watches what she can, but we don't have like, BritBox or anything for her to watch things. So,
well, I know what I'm getting your mom for her birthday. 1 month of BritBox.
How about people go to S1E1pod.com and buy a t-shirt so we can get Jay's mom BritBox?
Yeah, if you want to, I mean, sure. Her birthday was actually like 9 days ago from when we were recording. You could have got it for like a week back. But yeah, so it was kind of funny. Gordo, you did pick this episode.
Yeah.
I assume you haven't watched it before this though. So what made you pick it?
Honestly, at this point, I'm just wheeling and dealing on Google trying to find sitcoms because I'm running stump out of ideas.
You act like we're almost out of shows. There's like thousands and thousands of shows.
I am out of shows that I know.
That's so sad.
I have so many.
Yeah, my brain, I know Ferg and I are very similar. Our brains are like Rolodexes of 10,000 shows we could pick. If we wanted to, as long as we all stay in good health, which will never happen, knowing all of us, we could do this show for fucking years and years and years.
So yeah, no rhyme or reason. I just saw the picture and I said, oh, it's about high time that we pick a show from across the pond. So, Gordo is a man of the people, of the world.
And Mrs. Brown's Boys wasn't like a poop joke for you or something? That wasn't like what brought you to it?
No.
That's probably what made him click the link. And then once he saw it was something else, he was like, good enough.
No, he saw a picture and then giggled and then picked the show.
Exactly.
That sounds exactly right, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, just to kind of get into it for anyone who's not really familiar with the show, Mrs. Brown's Boys, you know, we've already kind of referenced it. I mean, if you didn't already realize by what we've been saying, Mrs. Brown is played by a man, Brendan O'Carroll, who created the character of Agnes Brown. And this is like a character that's existed through like a radio show originally and novels. And then eventually was picked up for the series where he's playing the character himself.
Stage shows too, right?
Yeah, I did the stage shows.
This whole show's a stage show.
Did you guys see like the trailer I sent you guys earlier? Like that was, you know, based on like one of the original like novels on Agnes Brown.
Do we know, was Mrs. Doubtfire like inspired by this? Because it's pretty close.
I don't know, because this came
No, this came out in 2011.
Well, no, this TV show did, but the history of this character is much older.
Oh, this episode, Ferg, is only like 14-ish years ago, but
I thought it was like 40 years old. Are you serious?
Yeah,
this is 2011.
Mrs. Brown's been around since like the early 90s, though. Like I said, in the other incarnations through like stage and books and movie and stuff.
Is it the same guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, except for the movie where it was like a legit take on the character that was like played by a woman.
Oh, okay.
Which is not what anybody wanted or seems to talk about online. They're like, that was the worst decision. Anyway, back to this.
But yeah, no, a fairly new show. It just, you know, it isn't a US show, so we don't really see a lot of it.
It's just filmed like an old show. It looks like an old show.
I was going to say this like later on, and we'll probably talk about it later anyways, but we mentioned that it had like a life as a stage show before this. And I feel like you can tell that when it's being written, like Brendan O'Carroll is used to writing for the stage.
The way they talk to the audience, the way they use the sets. Yeah, it's very, very stagey. That's not a bad thing. It's just weird to see a stage show as a TV show. You feel the bones of it.
It takes me out of it, to be honest with you.
And it's funny. So like, well, obviously we also reference Mama's Family for similar reasons, in that even though Vicki Lawrence is a woman playing an older woman, it's still someone disguised as an older woman for the sake of the character. Not so much in Mama's Family, the show, but when it was done as like sketches before the show.
Yeah, like Tracy Ullman show or not Tracy Ullman show.
Oh yeah, so like when it was on the show before it was its own series, felt very much like it was played as Carol Burnett show was played like it was for like stage.
Yeah, and those were very much more talk to the audience as well.
Yeah, because I mean, those shows back in the day, the way they were filmed were to a live studio audience. So you have to play it up to a degree for that. And this show, like, turned it up to 11 with that.
I will say, to their credit, too, they must have nailed most live takes, because there were a few scenes here where the crowd fucking loses it. And you don't get that on take two.
The actors laugh, too. We'll get into it later, but
this is like a Jimmy Fallon level of SNL laughing at your own sketch. Yeah, but I loved it. I found it very endearing.
I thought the show actually did a good job of breaking the fourth wall, not too much. Like if they did it too often, it would annoy me. So, but like the occasional wink, I'm all right with, and I think they found kind of that right balance.
There's one specific one.
Yeah, there's one specific one we'll talk about, I'm sure, that like made me like be like, I love this. Like that's exactly what you should fucking do in this moment.
Well, there's one that made me say I love this, and one that made me go, oh, I didn't like that one.
Well, we'll get into those. IMDb has this as a 7.1. Rotten Tomatoes only an audience score, 87%. Now, I would assume if there was a critic score, from what I've read up, critics absolutely hate this show and audiences love it. And you could understand why.
I totally get that. Yeah.
The critiques from most actual critics is that this relies very much on foul language and crude humor to get a laugh.
I agree.
I do think to a degree I can understand it, because they do lean on that stuff a lot, and you can tell a lot of the laughs come from all the wild F-bombs. But I would say it's not as simple as just using crude humor, because we've seen cases where...
no, it's funny on its own. There's a few forced F-bombs. I'm just like, okay. But
I will say this, though, and I might get in trouble with all of our Irish and English fans and friends here, but feckin' and shite are both not swears. When you say them like that to me, I'm like, that's not the same word.
Well, he rotates. You get like your good share of feckin', fucking, and like bucking.
Yeah, there are some fuckins for sure. I love the accent though. I love the fecking. I love the shite.
It's funny. The bucking one, I was like, that's the one time you don't say fuck when it's appropriate.
That's when you pulled back for some reason.
To get into the actual episode itself, we start in the intro is just kind of like this very brief cartoon of the character of Agnes Brown, and she's hanging up pictures of all her children like on a clothesline. And it's like very simple, quick, and kind of plays like a much older show, kind of like how Ferg was saying before. Where from that you get into the music and it pans away from the cartoon and then you see the live studio audience and the sets. So it definitely like right off the bat has kind of a throwback vibe just in the way it's presented to you up front.
I think the way it's filmed too, like I think, if it was a different world and like PBS and those channels still played all the British comedies, we would have known this show. But this reminded me of the way it looked as Keeping Up Appearances. It felt like I was watching something from that same exact era from the same studios, but that was 20 years earlier. And that's kind of, I don't know if it's an artistic or stylistic choice, but I liked it. I liked feeling like I was watching something way older.
Me too. I also loved the panning from the studio audience in.
See, I didn't.
You didn't like that?
I didn't like that they immediately showed the studio audience and then zoomed in, because from the very start of the show, I'm taken out of it and like.
See, I always kind of like that stuff, and maybe that's just, well, obviously we do this now, but like since I was a kid, I had such an interest in like television and movies, so like that stuff to this day is always like very fun for me to see that little bit of the fourth wall break.
It felt very much like Tool Time. Like when you're watching a TV show inside of a TV show and they show you the crowd and pan back in.
Or like nowadays on SNL where they'll have those like quick, like mid-commercial cuts where you just see them like changing sets real quick before they go back to, like to the show itself.
I had no clue what the plot of this show was before watching. So when they did it that way for a minute, I thought, oh, are they filming a show for this show? Like Joe said, Tool Time, but that wasn't the case. Went right into it.
My knowledge of this show is I've never like sat and watched an episode, but many a time my mom has like been watching something on her phone and laughed and just showed me something from one of these episodes out of context that I don't find funny out of context. And I'm like, I don't know how to reply to this,
Yeah, without any knowledge of this, you're like, okay, what are we seeing here?
It's funny because like you guys will always get on me about like hating all British shows and stuff, which I don't think is true. I think my voting isn't always there because like there's a very particular style of kind of British humor, even though this is more Irish, but it's a BBC show. The very first thing you see is when Agnes, who's again played by Brendan O'Carroll, is there with Granddad, and you're like, oh, what's wrong? And he's like, oh, I haven't slept for 3 days, and whacks him with a plate so he like falls down and falls asleep.
You know the humor right away for that stuff, yeah.
So that for me isn't usually my humor, so I'm like, oh, here we go.
I giggled at that. I was like, oh, and I said the same thing. I went, oh, here we go, but it was
in the fun way, yeah.
Yeah.
It's also the very stage thing you were saying too, right? Because when the way he passes out and the way they do these things, it's like you're playing for the whole audience, right? Like a TV show, it doesn't matter. You have to play big because it's on you. This plays, they play their reactions and their movements so big that like if they were in a theater, people in row Z would understand what it is. And I think it's funny to watch that because you're like, this is like such crazy overacting, but it's funny to watch that when you're not used to seeing that.
You know what's funny is I always kind of use a similar analogy when I'm talking about, as someone who likes both professional wrestling and likes MMA and have gone to see both live. Like if you go to a wrestling show, it's played for a big audience. You know what I mean? It's staged. So it's big, wild punches and like things of that nature that are meant to be seen from everywhere. Now, MMA, if you're not sitting right up against the cage and someone's like on the ground trying to get like a wrist lock in, like it's
live. It's
not intended for the audience. It's because it's, actual sport. So as much as I enjoy it, as far as seeing it live from afar, it's a lot tougher.
I think MMA fucked up too because I have no problem with the octagon, but it's not high enough. Like a wrestling ring is inherently on a giant pedestal so that people can see it really clearly. Whereas
the
like
octagon's raised.
Not the same way as a wrestling ring.
Well, it's also, what do you call it? Also has the cage around it too, which doesn't lend itself to...
I think between the cage and all the seating right up against it, it's just more...
It's a TV sport.
Yes, it's far more meant for television than
you're there, you're watching the Tron.
Right, yeah, I enjoy it for TV, but what's the point live, yeah.
You're paying for a large TV.
So now, after she hits him with the plate, walks into the kitchen, and this is the very first time you're getting like that fourth wall break. Agnes starts talking to us, like the listener, our viewer rather. And, you know, she's just kind of introducing herself saying, you know, oh, I'm just doing a bit of cleaning and, you know, just taking a quick break. And you get you hear like a barking outside. And it's kind of the first time you get a little bit more of like seeing her character. And she's like, yelling, shut up, you fucking mutt. And like, you know, throws food out, but I think like leaves it in the can or something. So just throws a can at the dog. So, like,
and then has to throw the can opener at the dog.
She forgets. She goes, I forgot to open it, and throws the can opener out.
Yeah. So like that kind of like, you know, physical humor and stuff gets injected. Gets back to talking. It's like, oh, where was I? Oh yeah. And so like heads back to the living room and, you know, just talking about how she likes to keep a nice home and stuff. Just telling you about herself a little bit. We get a little bit of exposition here when she walks back into the living room because Granddad's sitting there on the couch knocked out and then referencing to him like, because, you know, when I was 18, I married his son because of a condition I had called pregnancy. And, you know, ever since then, I've been cleaning. I did think that line was really funny.
I do like that line, yeah.
Yeah.
And now her daughter, Kathy, walks downstairs. Her daughter, Kathy, played by his real life wife. And as I said, like, the majority of this cast is his actual family.
That explains why they're so good at fighting.
Yeah, like that's also why they have such good chemistry, right? And also why like he must be good about sharing the profits and everything, right? Because like I'm sure a lot of these people could go on and do other stuff because they've been on these like impressive shows, but like I love the mentality of like why work if you don't have to? You know what I mean? Like I know it's a stupid thing, all this grind culture shit where it's like if someone said, "Hey, you don't have to work anymore. You can work like one day a year," I'd be like, "This is the best year of my life." So I appreciate these people being like, "This is what we do. We're these characters only."
Because they're actual family too, you can really see it throughout the episode. We already talked about them breaking and stuff. Like you can tell they're having a lot of fun recording this.
Yeah, there's quite a few points in time where they all like snicker and stuff, and it's like endearing and funny.
You can tell not all of it is rehearsed too, because they wouldn't be breaking if they knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
Yes, although it depends. I mean, because they have such a rapport with each other and they are actually family. You know, just the thought of like, think about us. Like, if we know that someone's going to say something funny.
Yeah, I think if like we did like a show of that style where we knew we could riff off each other and it was like us and our friends, sure. But if I was to do that with my actual like blood relatives, it would be a nightmare.
I don't think it'd be as funny. Yeah, for any of us.
When Kathy walks down, her daughter, they're like talking, walk back into the kitchen, and Agnes is asking her like, "Oh, you heading out on your date?" And she's like, "Oh, it's not a date. It's just like a quick drink." And, you know, she starts getting to like, you know, how, you know, that's how it starts. And, you know, 1 minute you're having a drink, but, you know, guys think that vodka's lubricant to get your knickers off and, you know, all this stuff.
Whiskey for me.
Oh, yeah.
Is that how we get your knickers off, Joe?
Yeah, you want my panties off? Couple stiff bourbons. I'll start getting fun.
I don't even know what to say from there. I've sent you a nice bottle of bourbon before. You could have at least sent some nice pictures or something.
You're opening up a hornet's nest you don't want opened. As somebody who's exclusively sent pictures like that only to friends as a lol, you don't want to be involved in where this.
No, I'm actually so happy that I'm not part of that sector of your texting.
No, it's Joe. You'll get it via mail.
In the mail.
That's why the people at Staples are so mad at him when he goes.
Joe just sent me fucking Xerox copied pictures of his dick.
It's a collage for some reason. He must have spent hours making this.
I like when they are having this conversation too. She's trying to ask her daughter, like, "Hey, just have a, you know, quick glass of tea before you leave." She's like, "Oh, I can't. I'm coming late." And she's like, "Don't worry about it. He's going to end up being late too." And then she goes to her mom, "Did Daddy always come late?" And she just goes, "That's none of your fucking business."
My immediate first real laugh of this episode.
Yeah, I thought that was, I mean, obviously.
I was so happy for you guys. You got a cum joke early.
Jay and I don't get cum jokes a lot. You and Gordo and Nick get fart jokes and poop jokes all the time. It is a rare bird.
You know why? Because fart jokes are universal.
That's true.
Cum jokes are funny.
Yeah, we have to go over the pond to get the cum jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say this, though, that I don't think there was any fart jokes in this.
No, but there was a lot of bum jokes.
There was a lot of bum jokes.
Yeah, there's a lot of bum jokes.
Yeah.
A lot of bum jokes, but no farts. So you guys, this is your episode. Your time to shine. The cum boys.
Unite.
So Kathy leaves. We're getting a little bit more dialogue from Agnes. And she's talking just more about herself. There's a lot of intro. This is the first episode. She's just kind of like bringing you into her world, right? And she's talking about like, she's not just a cleaner. She's still working on market and sell fruits and vegetables. Then was talking about how like, you know, the customers would always like fuck around and touch everything without buying it. And then saying how like, hey,
the banana.
Hey, missus, that banana's not a willy. It won't get big if you squeeze it.
I died at that.
Also, she laughs after she says it, and then like I appreciate that like I'm in on the joke humor where like you make a joke and you laugh yourself, because we're those people. Like we'll say something and then start laughing. So I'm like immediately like, okay, these are my people.
See, with this part, I immediately went to Suburban Commando, the melon part.
Squeezing the melons in the grocery store.
And he burst. He goes, "Oh, I guess I got a good one."
I found a good one.
R.I.P. Shelley Duvall.
As a former produce man, spending many years, the amount of fucking touching and playing with fucking fruit people would do that they're not going to put in their basket. It's like, oh, gross. Someone else is going to put that in their mouth later.
Wash your fruit, people.
Yep, you always got to clean your fruits and your veggies, yeah.
And that man was Jay. Ate all day.
I don't know what that means.
Jay was the one fondling the fruit.
I think he just admitted that he did that. I think that was the story.
No, I was saying other people. I worked there. Like, it would bother me how other people. Whatever. I'm not. We can't try to make sense of Gordo's jokes. So, as she's sitting there talking through the kitchen door, you see a man walk in a penguin suit.
Now, real quick, this show is so fucking wild. Did anybody else, when he walked in, just go, okay, so like her son's a penguin? Because I thought it was so surrealist, where I was like, oh, is this how weird the show's going to be? Where she's like, and this is my son Flipper. You know, you're like, okay, shit, I guess that's just how
I didn't know if they were going to
goes.
like address it properly, or if it was just going to be like kind of just this random thing that happened. It was because I don't know the tone of the show yet.
I thought because the tone we'd seen so far was so out in left field that I was like really excited. I was like, they're just never going to talk about the fact that her son is a penguin. It's the best thing in the world. I was so on board for that.
I didn't know you like penguins like that, Joe.
Last week, I watched like an hour worth of videos of just penguins slipping into the water on ice, and it's so cute and so sweet. And they all get up and they're like, "Oh, I'm okay." It's so funny. For people who live on ice, they're bad at walking on ice. Why is that a thing? That's a bad genetic trait.
If you want to go back to our Danger 5 episode, you can, watch a show where one of the characters is an eagle for no reason.
And that's also part of it, right? We're like, okay, we've seen this before. Danger 5 was way funnier than it had any right to be.
Another Gordo pick. See, you got to listen to your boy Gordo more often.
Yeah, but these are all shows you've picked without seeing. It's not like you're like, this is a show I think is funny and you will also think is funny. That's not what's happening.
That just tells me we got to trust the British.
As opposed to Ferg, who picks a show that's just like, I want you to be fucking as miserable as possible and ruin a chunk of your week. And then make you talk about that shit for 2 hours.
And then make you edit it for another 4.
I'm sorry. Do you guys miss me picking shows that I know you'll all greenlight so I can be the S1E1 champion?
Here's the thing. And then most importantly, and now we have to pray that people will listen to this episode for these shows that nobody likes.
What was the last one you picked where I was like, I might get in the car and come down to punch you? Selfie. Fuck! Oh my god. I've never been angrier. I was angrier
Ferg, you're lucky there's nothing that will make him get in the car and come down and see us.
Hey, I drove like 300 hours last week, okay? So I'm working on it. I'm working on getting my solo trips.
I'll just chase him away with some gluten.
I drive all the way down to see you, and I'm like, guys, I missed you. And you're like throwing flour at me. I come home like, babe, I'm sorry, I shit the car. I don't know what to do. Light a fire, it's over. Call Honda.
It's the end of My Girl, but just Joe with bread.
Only if all of you guys walk up to my coffin with my glasses and go, he needs glasses. He needs his glasses. He needs his Cheez-Its. He can't go to heaven without his Cheez-Its.
So the penguin is Agnes' son Dermot, And they head into the living room and he takes his head off. It's kind of like the costume's kind of like a mascot type of costume. And I guess he does this for like promotional things to sell product. And this was like a weird audience laugh. It's like, oh, what are you promoting this week? And he goes, chocolate biscuits. And she goes, oh, lovely. What kind? And the crowd like dies laughing. And I'm like, where is the joke?
Penguin is one of the biggest cookie companies in Ireland and UK.
Oh, okay. Because then he says Kit Kats. And I'm like, did I miss the joke? Apparently, I did miss the joke.
Cookies here, biscuits there, because biscuits cookie over there.
Okay.
The company's called Penguin. It's a type of food. It's like a Kit Kat or a Snickers.
That joke went completely over my head. I'm like, I don't know why the audience fucking thinks this is the funniest line, and I feel like the joke didn't happen yet.
Should be ice cream.
That would be like if he was dressed as a giant Skittle and you were like Snickers or whatever, right? Like it's like the crowd all knows it's like the complete opposite thing or whatever.
So now she's like, Dermot, like what's wrong? Like you seem like you're upset. Like you in trouble with the law again? Like, no, mommy, it's Maria. She goes, lovely Maria. We broke up. Bitch, never liked her. What did you do?
It's a great mom response.
Yeah.
It is.
I'll say this dude plays a great mom. When it comes to like mom tendencies, like it really does nail a lot of it.
There's times that I don't see a dude in a dress. Like it completely takes me out of it that he's not just like an old mom.
Yeah.
It's not like Artie Lang and That's My White Mama from Mad TV from back in the day. Like one of the funniest, most problematic sketches of all time.
And right here, like you get it with like the meddling because he's like saying he doesn't want to talk about what happened. It's like, all right, we don't have to talk about it. I understand. So what happened? He's like, no, I don't want to talk about it.
I think one of the funniest lines of the whole episode here that's very kind of like slipped in. He's like, I'm just on a quick break. And she's like, okay, why don't you go hop in the fridge then and hang out? It's like, that's such a good Penguin joke.
And she cracks up at that joke, which is even funnier.
Most of Agnes's jokes are followed by Agnes laughing.
Yeah.
That scene ends. We cut to later in the night, and now we see Kathy alone in the kitchen, and she's on her laptop. And that's when her mom walks in. And there's like a quick gag where she goes to turn the lights on, and they're not turning on, so she kicks the wall, and the lights turn on. And I didn't know if that was like by design or if the people who like turn the lights on behind the scenes didn't catch the cue and they just left it in. Like I couldn't tell which way it went, but the audience liked it.
I like to think it was the people fucked up and they just were rolling with it live.
Yeah, maybe. Either way, it worked.
So she walks in the kitchen. She's talking to her daughter. And she's like, what are you doing up? She's like, oh, I can't go to bed. I'm just worried about Dermot and Maria. She goes on and like gives her like this nice little speech to her daughter. And she's like, I have to say, you know, you amaze me with the amount of work and persistence you do. And, you know, I'm very blessed to have you. You're my only daughter. You know, and the man who gets you is going to be the luckiest man on earth. And just kind of like, not bad for a widow bringing up a girl on her own. Hey, right? And then like Kathy takes her earbuds out and she's like, I'm sorry, Mom, what? She's like, oh, nothing. It doesn't matter.
I laughed and then it was preceded with like genuine like sorrow that she didn't hear her say those nice things.
Yeah.
You know what I did find a little interesting, not from the scene, but the scene kind of highlights it a little bit. Show's called Mrs. Brown's Boys. We find out she has six children. Out of her 6 children, she has 5 sons, 1 daughter. This episode, we only meet 1 son, 1 daughter, and I feel like the daughter gets the most time outside of her. So it's like for a show that's like Mrs. Brown's Boys, like the focus is on the one sibling that's not the boy. And I don't know if that's like that after this or not, because I've truly only seen this episode. So
I haven't watched ahead. I looked at though, and there's listings for other sons and their stuff.
Yeah, I wonder if they get the kind of attention that the daughter gets, especially where the daughter we know is played by his wife. So you feel like it by design will get a lot of time.
Right.
And one of them is a penguin.
Yeah, and one's a penguin.
But he's a major. I mean, I think that the daughter is probably throughout all the episodes because they're playing the husband and the wife, quote unquote. What I'm trying to say, probably.
Well, yeah,
really.
and that she's a widow and she's like the single sibling that lives in the house. So you see a lot of them together, and they're going to interact a lot because she doesn't have a spouse character to bounce off of. So
well, Dermot lives in the house too, though.
Yeah, McDermott does.
Dermot, the son who's in the episode, lives in the house because like the argument he has with his girlfriend later is because he lives in the house.
And then and granddad and stuff too, which is actually funny because as they're talking, you hear like a knocking from the other room for attention, and it's like, "What do you want, granddad?" He's like, "I don't feel well." She goes, "You're 92. You're not supposed to fucking feel well." It was another just like obviously, like, it's such an on-the-point joke because it's like, well, yeah, I mean, who's 92 and wakes up going like, I feel fucking awesome today?
It's a bummer, but you're like, yeah, I guess. I don't know. Sometimes I think about that stuff where you're like, what's a good age to not live anymore? You know what I mean? Where you're like, I want to live to be 100, but I also don't want to live waking up in the morning and being like, I'm miserable.
Yeah, you want to live 100 years in your current state.
Right, like live 100
Yeah.
years good. Well, I wouldn't say I'm good, but like, you know, this would suffice, I guess.
Good enough. Yeah.
Yeah, ish.
Kathy's like, Mom, come on, like, you have to call the doctor, like something could be wrong. It's like, what, for like an 80-euro visit? It's like, he has no health insurance. He does have like insurance if he dies though. So, you know, she would rather him just fucking die at this point, and then that'll pay off the bills better than, you know, paying for these doctor's visits and stuff.
I literally had an appointment with my bank where I found out this week that I'm worth more dead than alive. And it's a really weird feeling because like they do all this stuff where it's like, well, if you die, they'd like sell your house and you have like life insurance for your company and this and that. It's like, but if you live, you're worth nothing. Like, it's a weird fucking feeling to be like, I'm afraid someone's going to put a bullet in my head now and try to take whatever little money that's worth.
I was confused by this. So she's like, fine, I'll call the doctor. This is all because of his fucking budgie. His budgie was
bird.
Found dead.
It's a bird.
Oh.
It's a
Parrot,
yeah.
parakeet. They call it.
Oh, I thought they were saying buddy.
No, parakeet.
Budgie.
Budgie.
Yeah, that's what.
Is that a common term? Like, this is
Yes.
stuff that I guess, like, I don't know what's dialect and what's not. So I don't know if I should be like Googling these things or not at times, but
No, that's
So
pretty
for
common.
the longest time, I thought one of his friends died, and it like made him sad.
He was sad because his like last living friend died. Like when Cotton Hill's buddies, when Topsy finally dies on King of the Hill, and Cotton's super sad.
so in a way, his buddy did die.
Yeah, I mean that was his bird. Also, we know birds like that live for like a super long time. So
Yeah, but when if you're 92, you know, he might have got that bird when he was young. they went all these years together.
Parakeets don't live that long.
Or not, yeah. I guess I don't know much about him.
it's like just like macaws and stuff, I guess. Yeah, I don't know much about birds. Yeah, I know Budgie though. I only know because there's a band called Budgie. That's an English band from the 70s.
Parakeets only live between or budgetigar, as you will. They only live 5 to 8 years.
Okay. Yeah, macaws can live like 100 years. Like everybody who has a macaw has to like will them out. Yeah, it's so fucking unless they die in a house fire like Coco Bewares.
Oh,
That's fucking horrible.
R.I.P. Frankie. I'm not happy about it. I'm just saying. Coco outlived his bird.
They ran it because they thought something was
Yeah,
burning
Coco
alive
Beware.
because the bird was screaming.
Coco. Beware. I'm very sad about Coco Beware's bird, by the way. It's but I love the Coco Beware thing.
Well, flashing forward now, and now we're in the living room, and this is when Granddad's having his doctor's visit. They're going over some stuff. Agnes is like, you're wasting your time with him. He's fucked, like only a matter of time, isn't it? And he goes, am I dying? And she's like, yes, Friday.
I mean, if you found out you were dying Friday, it's Thursday right now. What would you do? I certainly wouldn't be recording the rest of the episode. I'd be like, holy shit, I've got 2.5 hours.
Well, don't worry, you're not dying.
I hope so. I hope not. Ugh, I said it wrong. I want to tease the Grim Reaper. I fucking dare you.
Bring it on, you coward.
So she's trying to find out what's wrong with him, and the doctor's like, we're going to have to run some more tests. And she's like, oh, great, more fucking money. And it's like, all right, well, I'm going to need a sample of his urine and a sample of his stool. Urine, the way he said it.
Yeah, he said urine.
Funny, house calls are such a sitcom trope. Like you never see that
Yeah, ever.
in reality
Yeah.
unless it's like
But
a really old
in
person that's
fairness,
dying.
if he's 92, you know what I mean? Like my pup is 91, and there are things where they'll just go by the house at that stage.
Yeah. Did anybody else think of the part of Apollo 13 where Bill Paxton lets all his pee out into the space and he goes, Constellation Urine, which I think is the only funny moment of that entire movie.
No, I did not think of that.
Okay.
No.
Sure. You guys aren't fucking Apollo 13 fans. It's fine too.
I love that part though.
It's a funny part.
When he's saying that that's what he needs, Granddad's like, what? And Agnes like, oh, he needs your underwear.
It's a low-hanging fruit joke, but it's a funny joke.
Hey, I mean, at 92,
I mean, yeah, obviously very possible. So now the doctor's saying that he's going to need a rectal reading and needs Agnes's help, and she's like all about it, which I didn't know why, character-wise, like why you think that's like so fun.
Oh, because that's not pleasurable. She's giving him more pain.
Yeah, but you still have to stick your whatever like up this old man's asshole. So that
she's
still,
not.
like,
The doctor is.
Yeah, she has to watch it.
She's just holding him down.
But would you want to watch that?
No.
Obviously not.
I will say, Ferg, I'm sure you've had to be there for this, but like whenever you have like your baby at a doctor and they're like, and like they're very good about like, we're gonna do this. Is that okay with you? You're like, okay. But like you just look in the eyes of your kid with like, you know they're gonna do that, and you're like, it's okay. Everything is okay. I'm so sorry about this.
I mean, they do that to me every doctor's appointment.
Oh, they hold you down.
Yeah.
Stick stuff up your butt.
Yeah, all the time.
They ask your mom if it's okay. You're like, I'm
Yeah.
40. Why are you doing it? Why is my mom here?
It's always the guy with the big fingers, too.
Now doodle. No, daddy, don't do it to me.
No, all right. So the one time I had to have a prostate exam, I swear, like fucking Andre the Giant walked in and was like, okay, are you ready? And I'm like, no, this is a fucking joke, dude. And he's like, okay, boss, bend up, like just turn over. And it was the most uncomfortable shit ever.
Haven't had to go for that one yet.
I mean, neither.
I thought I had something wrong in the region, and they sent me to a specialist. And like I said, this dude was fucking gigantic.
I feel like that should make you be weeded out of that class in medical school. They're like, I want to be a gastroenterologist. And they're like, nope, your hand's too big. Sorry, you go to mouth doctor or whatever, you know?
Like you stick the giant fingers down your throat.
I'd rather that, wouldn't you?
Listen, from personal experience, I would much rather have that.
Did he hit you with the classic, oh no, there's a crack in it?
No, he was very professional about it, and it was very awkward because I kept like trying to crack a joke, being like, yeah, I really need to do that.
Ricardo's not telling us that his doctor was Edward Penis Hands, and it was a really strange experience all the way through.
Yeah, so they bend him over and they shove that thermometer up his ass. And then a moment later, she's asking the doctor, like, hey, do you need any tea or anything? He's like, no, I can go for another one of these. I think he was having a bit of whiskey himself.
Yeah, it looked like he had a whiskey in his glass there.
So they head into the kitchen together. And right when that happens, Kathy walks back downstairs and sees like her granddad sitting there. And she's like, what are you doing? She sees him ass out, by the way.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, grandpa.
Wouldn't you notice the thermometer sticking out of his ass?
I know, because before the other two left, Agnes said that he looked like a toffee apple. So you should be able to see the stick.
Maybe she's trying to not look at her grandpa's butt.
Yeah, she probably got a quick look and then averted her eyes. But yeah, now she's trying to help him get his pants back up. And she's like, you need to sit down. He's like, no. And he like can't get out what's going on. And she basically like shoves him down into the seat, which obviously makes the thermometer all the way up.
This is one of those scenes where you know it was first take because the crowd loses their fucking minds at this scene.
I lost my mind. I was laughing so hard at this.
Oh yeah, this was very well done. And his like the facial expressions he makes while he's sitting down, which are basically the like stages of grief, like where that ends with acceptance. You're like, oh, this poor fucking guy.
He's 92.
I think everything would have been first take. I think if they fucked up royally, they still would have left it in because that's just the way the show is.
That's a good call.
Yeah,
I think
is a
that's
good
true.
call.
Yeah.
So she exits after he sits. The other two enter back from the kitchen. And they're like, what are you doing sitting down? And then they like have to like get him back up. And she's like, oh, now we're going to play treasure hunt. And they like drop his pants again. And now they have to like retrieve the thermometer, but can't.
She shoves like his head between her legs to make him bend over.
Mrs. Brown almost gives him the famouser. That's like what she's setting
Yeah.
up for. It's amazing.
But they can't get it. So now he's going to have to go to a hospital at some point to get it out.
What do you mean at some point? That's like an immediate, like, you go now.
That's like called the ambulance scenario.
Well, that's not really how it was talked about. It's like, oh, just make sure you get him to the doctors later.
Well, that doctor was also drunk because he was on his at least glass 2 of straight bourbon or whiskey or whatever, probably Irish whiskey.
Oh, definitely Irish whiskey.
I feel like it would have made its way out eventually anyway.
Irish whiskey, not my favorite.
Not mine either. I love whiskey.
Oh, I love Irish whiskey.
I love Irish pretty much everything except whiskey.
Bourbon straight up's fine. Usually I'll throw a couple rocks in it. Irish whiskey is too sweet for me.
Oh, see, I like the sweetness in it. When I drank, of course, I'm the most like plain idiot ever. I like Jameson.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think Jameson, alcohol's weird, right? Alcohol's like one of those few times where it doesn't pay to be like the little guy sometimes, you know what I mean? Usually some of these big, like established places are the way to go.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And also, like, the bigger ones are sometimes, like, you had a place like, can I have a Jim Beam? Like, it's decent and it's cheap. It's not a big deal. But we make this one in the back in a tank, and we aged it for, it's like, how much is a glass of it? Like, $74. Like, okay, I'll take the Jim Beam. Like, why would I do that?
$74 later, Joe's knickers are off.
Yeah.
Terrible.
He's Xeroxing dick pics to you.
Also, I don't know if anybody's ever been to a whiskey tasting before. It's the funniest way to lose your money ever because you taste like one and you're like, that wasn't bad. You taste another one, you're like, yeah, it wasn't great. And by the third one, you're like, my tongue doesn't exist and I'm drunk and I don't give a shit what these taste like. And they just give you fucking anything at that point.
The Jameson factory in Ireland. I did that.
Me and Jay did a moonshine tasting, but I never did whiskey.
Oh, yeah, we did moonshine in Nashville, which is funny because it was you, right, who walked up when I had bought the cherries.
Yeah.
And didn't know that they were, well, I mean, like, I guess in theory you would know, but you don't realize what you're about to get into. So these are cherries that are soaked in moonshine and they're extremely alcoholic and they don't.
Just like, ooh, maraschino cherries. And didn't realize.
Because you think like, they're like, oh, you'll never taste it. You taste it.
These was just pure moonshine.
I think we talked about it here before. One time we bought one of those whiskey making kits, and it's like you get a little oak barrel and a bottle of grain alcohol, right? And then like you age it for 6 months, and you take a shot of it, and you're like, I will never taste anything again. Like it's the worst feeling ever. You're just like pouring water on your tongue.
Yep.
I'd be scared I'd fuck it up and like poison myself.
I think with the kits though, they probably make it fairly idiot proof unless you drink too much of it. And trust me, when I did it that time, you couldn't have drank too much of it. Your body was like, no, we're barely taking this half a shot. Doctor
heads out, and now as he's leaving, Kathy heads back down, and she's asking if she saw her psychology magazines. She thought she left them downstairs last night, and you get the joke. Well, if you left in that chair, it's probably up his arse right now. And the two walk into the kitchen. Agnes keeps going on like about how she doesn't know what to do about Dermot and Maria, and Kathy keeps trying to tell her like, you just need to butt out of this. Like it's just not your business. It's just like, I want to be involved. I want to be a leader, like your man in Iran. And this Joe's quote, and she says like, Mahmoud, mama, jibbity, get it back up again.
That was the president of Iran at the time, but that's not how you say his name.
Well, no, that's not exactly his name, but yeah.
But I will say that name as a joke because it's funny, but I won't try to pronounce his real name.
Because then it's just defensive.
Then it's just defensive, yeah. So I'm just going to say.
Not so much to him, but like the rest of the nation, yeah.
Right, yeah, and I don't want to do that. So, but if you look up who was Iran's president at the time, that's who it was.
Did you ever see the Lonely Island song about him?
No, because I think nothing the Lonely Island has ever done is funny.
It's even more though, yeah, Fred Armistad plays him.
Did you say Fred Armistad? That's a very different person.
I said Armistad. I didn't say Amistad, but
Fred Amistad is a character Fred Armisen would have played because he only played characters who were
Armistad, but yeah, so a hybrid of the two. He plays him, and then it's with the singer of Maroon 5. It's a funny song. You'd probably still hate it, but whatever. Kathy exits after telling her mom again to promise that she won't interfere, and you get that like quick, Agnes to the audience again, like me interfere. And then that flashes immediately to her sitting in the kitchen now with Maria later in the day.
I think there's a genius move here where we find out that she cuts the cookies so they fit into the teacup.
Yeah, I mean, there are some cookies that are shaped for that specific reason.
Yeah, I mean, like Oreos are circular, so you can dip them in milk. I wouldn't put a cookie in milk, probably. I mean, dipping in coffee has always been a thing I liked more than dipping in tea, but I don't know how you guys feel about that. Ferg, I know that you're not a coffee guy.
You're not English?
Right.
And that is a national pastime over there. But they also make long, like bricks too that they do that. They're
like Vienna fingers is like a.
For me, it's like if you dip though, it has to be the quickest dip to get a little flavor because like 2 seconds and they get soggy and it's mushy and gross.
Just milk for me.
That's how I like them.
But I'm an Irishman and I do drink tea, but I would never dip any cookie in tea. And don't want the cookie to take on the taste of tea.
I drink a lot of tea and a lot of coffee. I'm pretty both sides of it, depending on how I feel on any given day. But
only espresso will I dip something in. Like regular coffee, I'm not like a dunk my donut in it.
I used to do it if it was like garbage shit coffee from like an old coffee shop. You know what I mean? Like where like it's gross. Like that works somehow. Like you wouldn't get a strong cup of coffee and do that.
Modern day, Ferg, bear with us. It's been a while since we've talked coffee.
Yeah, this is sorry for
what, 2 episodes?
No, we haven't been 2 years since we've had like a long coffee talk.
But I will say this is the most American part of this podcast, right? Because we're talking about like, and this would be the same thing in England or Ireland, right? Where like it's much more of a tea culture. America is much more of a coffee culture.
Yeah, but with either hot, I'm more likely to drink a hot tea. I almost never drink hot coffee. So, and usually for both, it's iced. If I'm drinking like an iced coffee, I'm not dunking anything in that, obviously. So,
yeah, I was gonna say I mostly, almost exclusively drink iced, caffeinated drinks. So,
I prefer hot coffee, and I hate in the summertime because I want one so badly. Like we had days like in the past week where it's kind of chilly in the morning, and you're like, oh, I could get one. And by the time I'm like done with enough work, where I could be like, I could leave for 20 minutes. It's 80 degrees again. You're like, nah, it's over now.
So another thing I want to bring up, by the way, is Maria, who we're meeting here, is played by Brendan's real life daughter, Fiona. So this is a father-daughter conversation that we're actually seeing on screen at the moment. This is Agnes again meddling where she shouldn't. This is, what we obviously are expecting to happen in this case. And she's telling Maria, like, obviously you did something to upset him, and like now we just have to figure out how to make it right. And I just think maybe it's best if you apologize. And she's like, apologize? Like, for what? And basically it's like, you don't even know what's going on. Like, and now Maria's pissed and going off on her. Sorry I ever met him. Sorry I got involved with his family. And she's going on and on about it. And Agnes is like, maybe something just like shorter than that though. And during all this is, Dermot walks in. So yeah, Dermot walks in like right in the middle of this whole thing. It's like, oh, Dermot, you're home. Like, look, Maria has something she wants to tell you. And he's like, oh, really? It's like, yeah, I hope you and your mother will be very happy together. And now get stuffed and exits.
Ooh, get stuffed. Why you wouldn't go and get fucked?
She swears enough.
Or give him the bollocks or whatever they say over there.
I always like to get bent.
Well, you know what the thing is, too? It's really like there's a lot of swearing, but that swearing almost is exclusively coming from just Agnes.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's maybe Agnes would have said that, but where this is Maria, she's a little bit more careful with her word choice.
We also get to that Maria does not seem to like Agnes, so as a polar opposite, she probably wouldn't stoop to her level and swear the way she would.
And she would have hated Raymond's mom.
Raymond.
There was a thing too, by the way, where like the BBC did kind of ask for the swearing to be toned down on the show a bit, but he basically just told them no. Like this is the show I do.
And good for England and Ireland and Europe and UK in general, where like this shit is so fucking crazy. We're like, if you think about America, where it's like, you've got your boot on us too much. We're moving to a new country and starting over. And then America became such fucking pussies about this shit, where it's like, you can't fucking swear on TV.
Especially with like, like the world is ever evolving with what's okay and what's not okay, right? But I think when it comes down to words that are, there's the typical swear words, right? And we're not a PG show ourselves. As long as it's not words that are against a certain group of people that are like, specifically offensive to something. The word fuck means at the end of the day,
fake word.
It means nothing. It's just a word. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like someone just decided it's offensive. Like what's so bad? Like it's just a word.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know the etymology of it, but
sure. But it doesn't mean like it's not like,
I disagree. As a parent, I'm glad that my son cannot hear that language.
Yeah, because television. You grew up in a world where we're being told that this word is bad. These 4 letters together are bad. But there are things that you could say to express the same feeling as that word that are okay words. And it means the same thing.
Words.
But what's the real difference?
So someone who's like been overseas a bunch of times, it's almost like you get treated like an adult overseas. You can smoke outside without someone saying like, oh, you can't smoke over here. Oh, get that over there. You can swear. You can, I don't know. You're just You feel more like an adult.
But I don't. But that's the thing. It's not. Smoking is like a separate thing, right? You could, there for reasons. There's reasons that like smoking around other people is not good for you, or whatever. A word is a word, and we just decided as a culture that this word is only for adults. But it's just a word.
Because the people that founded this country were Puritans.
That word didn't exist then. It has nothing to do with that.
Yeah, that didn't exist then, but they left where this show takes place, and we're like, fuck them. They are being too oppressive to us, and they started such an oppressive country. It's so fucking funny how backwards that became.
Why don't you guys go back if you hate America so much?
I would go so quickly. If I could transport this house and be like, I live in Brighton, England now, I'd be like, that's fine, we're good. I'd be totally okay with it. I'll move to Tooting Beck.
And then you'd be like, man, this place is really expensive and the weather's terrible.
If you're talking about crazy expensive and bad weather, I think that's A, everywhere in America, and B, exactly where I live. So at that point,
you don't need old England for that. We have New England for that.
Yeah.
Also, my friends in England are always like, it's never that cold, just kind of gray out. That's my favorite day. Like a gray, no sun, but kind of like 60-degree day. That's where I'm my absolute happiest.
Gross. I don't want to get out of bed. Like, I don't know how people in Seattle and like Oregon do it.
The rain is different. I don't want it to be raining all the time, but I love an overcast, cool day.
Yeah, I don't mind that.
No, I don't want overcast. I'm fine with cool. I don't want overcast. You need the sun to keep you happy.
I don't think I do.
I think you do. You're out of the sun and you're miserable right now.
I'm taking pills to make my brain not be broken right now. It's so funny to be like, I think it okay. Serotonin, crazy brain.
Joe's got the high school superlative for most like Shirley Manson.
It makes sense. People still call me garbage to this day.
Yeah. Quick, want to double check before we move on. Gordo, do you get that joke?
Yes, Shirley Manson was the singer of Garbage who had hit songs like I'm Only Happy When It Rains.
I wish Joe didn't say the garbage part because you wouldn't have gotten it. But touche.
So hold on. Bam.
You should get a tattoo. Both of your arms completely covered?
No. One of them's not.
So you should get sunglasses put on once. When you dab, you have sunglasses.
Oh my God, don't give me that idea. I already
He'll
have a
do
mustache.
That. You know,
I already have a mustache tattoo.
I can literally hear mentally your wife screaming in the background at the idea of that being a thing you're going to do.
Oh my God, that would be fucking like right here.
Yeah. You're welcome.
My wife is going to hate that because I'm definitely going to do that.
And then if you want to go as Ray Charles or Stevie Wonder for Halloween, you don't have to actually wear a costume.
If and when Gordo gets that tattoo, we'll be sure to post it on our Instagram, S1E1 pod, X as well.
I came up with the idea because people get those hand tattoos that like skulls that they put over their mouth.
Well, I mean, in my Joey Deschanel phase, I have the OG one with the mustache on my inner finger.
But yeah, Joe's quirky Mr. fucking finger mustache.
And moving right back into this episode, Dermot's now asking his mother what happened when Maria storms off, and she's trying to explain it, but she's kind of at a loss for words. I thought this was funny, but they really did stretch it out where she like couldn't get the words quite out. She's like, well, she came here and just sipped and nibbled her biscuits and drank and she was kind of almost doing the fucking wet bandit thing.
Yeah, there's a little Joe Pesci here.
But it was going on for quite a while.
This, I will say, dare I say, goes on a beat too long.
Oh, yeah, I said the same thing. I agree.
Yeah, this one's
a little stretch. It was funny, but then it like kept going. Ends with it's no wonder why you dumped her, and that's when he jumps in with I didn't dump her. She broke up with me because I wouldn't move in with her. And she's like, whoa, leave home? Yeah, she wants me to move in. It's way too early for that. He's like, I'm 33. And then he's like, Mom, I wish for once you just stay out of things and mind your own business. And he leaves, and she goes, you are my business. Like, once he's out of the room, I'm your mother.
Aww.
And the whole crowd awes, and he goes, it's a man in a fucking dress, like to the crowd. And I loved it when he did that. I thought it was
I hated that.
I knew you weren't going to like that one, Ferg, but I fucking loved it. This is the
part that I was talking about that I said I hate when it went a little too far.
I loved when he did that because I thought it was just like very charming of him to do that in that moment because he did like, Ferg, you said there are times where you get lost in the character and you don't see like this middle-aged man playing this woman. And right there, you got that emotion where you got a legitimate awe out of the crowd. And for him to just be like, come on, I'm a fucking guy in a dress. And like just break it real quick, I thought it was pretty funny.
I feel like we talked about Mrs. Doubtfire before too. Like when the kid catches him peeing and he comes around and he's like, no, it wasn't me peeing. And he's just like, hey, you watch your mouth and you respect me. You're like, holy shit. Like that's this scene of the episode.
Yeah, I got a legit laugh out of that when he did this.
It's funny. It's just when I watch a show, it's like escapism, and I don't want to be reminded that it's a TV show. It's just, unless it's like Deadpool breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah, see, I guess like comedy is like gets that pass sometimes, and not always, but I there's a time and a place for it, and this is a show that's establishing very early that it's a show that does break the fourth wall. So,
and the other one that's coming up in the next scene for some reason didn't bother me, but this one did.
Because it's funny, like you go back to like Saved by the Bell. Back in the day, watching Saved by
Time Out.
Yeah, and you get the time out, and like as a kid, I'm like, that's so cool. He's talking to us.
Parker Lewis, I think, did the same thing too, right?
Who?
I never really watched Parker Lewis. I think we talked about covering at one point. Was that a show we couldn't find a copy of? That might have been.
I think maybe we couldn't find a good copy of it. Parker Lewis Can't Lose. It was like another early 90s kind of teen sitcom.
No recollection of that.
You know how we talk about sometimes how like sitcoms about people in high school aren't for them, they're for the kids who are younger because we think those guys are like super cool. It's one of those shows.
Okay.
It was on a bunch when we were kids, and like the cast who's in it, you'd know because they've all done like other stuff. But I think that show also was a big fourth wall breaker.
Okay.
It's the Ferris Bueller.
Ferris Bueller as well, yeah. Parker Lewis was definitely very much in the footprint of Ferris Bueller, so that definitely tracks.
We can do the Ferris Bueller sitcom one of these days.
I would love to do that. We have to do a theme month where we do movie, sitcom.
We'll do like a movie month or something like that.
Movie May?
What?
Movie Mayhem. Oh, shit.
We'll discuss it a later time. We're so entrenched. After this week, by the way, for those of you guys listening, we have theme months for September, October, November, December, and January. So a lot of theme months coming up ahead.
And we'll take a break until Movie May.
And then we'll probably do a couple of our own picks so we can actually pick episodes again.
I miss picking episodes. I'm going to miss picking episodes.
I'm not going to miss it at all, Ferg. I fucking can't handle you picking episodes anymore.
I got you once. You got me 1 billion times.
The shows I picked, I genuinely liked. That's not being mean to you. That's me being like, look at this piece of art I think you might
your
enjoy.
reaction to my show, I genuinely liked.
That is Ferg's pace de resistance.
The next scene is the first and I think only time we see them outside of the house this episode. And we got Agnes and Kathy, and they're in a pub with two other women, Winnie and Betty. In this episode, at least, we never really established what their relationships are to them as far as the show goes, so I'm not sure. But I do know in real life, Winnie is his actual sister, and Betty is his daughter-in-law. So we talk a lot about how the families and this whole show, this is the relation of the two. So everyone in this scene right here are related.
So was Winnie the older one of the ladies?
Yes, Winnie was the one to his left.
I'm bad with names, especially on a show like this.
Yeah, Betty was like the younger blonde that was all the way in the end of the table.
Okay.
And this is like a two moms and their two daughters and everybody's friends scenario.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. We don't. Yeah. You know, they're all discussing the date that Kathy just had, and Winnie was saying that she heard it was a disaster. She's like, no, I wouldn't say it was a disaster. And you have Agnes talking about how it's better off that men are perverts and they're always looking for one thing and they don't need a compass to get there. And they're going on about it. She's like, oh, hold on, I need my purse. And she goes like, hang on. And then runs off set. The cameras like move. You see the other actors breaking. She walks from the bar set and leaves the pub to go to the living room set, grabs her purse, runs back.
For two dark sets.
And sits down. And she's like, sorry, my tablets are in it. I assume that's pills or something like that. That was another one that was like an extreme fourth wall break. And I don't know. Yeah, it was. If they did that a lot, it would bother me.
Didn't bother me.
No, it didn't bother me. I liked it.
I don't know if the first one prepared me for this one.
Maybe.
But for some reason, this one didn't bother me as much.
I was going to say, this would take you out of the show more than him.
Even more. It did.
But something about it, like it does, like it piques your interest in a way that you go like, whoa, wait, what's going on here?
Yeah, I mean that's the Broadway aspect of it in a way, like the stage show aspect of it. Because I mean it's preceded by, oh, I left my bag at home, and then he goes home. Like it, I don't know, it's funny. Like the whole thing front to back is just like a funny little gag.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I like the dark sets, and I like that you can tell the camera people who are filming like also don't know what to do. They're just like kind of moving back out of the way.
Yeah, they're trying to follow him. You see other cameras in the shot and all that stuff.
You know, it must suck being in a studio audience and being in front of that set because they're only in that area for a little while.
Like your neck is craned trying to look at what's going on. Like,
but if you ever look, like when they really pan back, like those sets, you basically sit, like this basically had 3 sets. This episode had the pub, the living room, and the kitchen. Those are the only 3 places we were the whole time. So you sit far back enough that you're seeing all 3 kind of at once because you're watching from afar a little bit.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't be too bad, you know, unless you're extremely all the way over at the pub.
One of those rare situations where it's better if you're up high in the back than if you're down front.
Yeah, and they usually elevate. The crowds usually, for the most part in a lot of these shows, raised a little bit.
Also, too, like when you see these like live events, like wrestling is a prime example. When you're in the audience, it looks fine. Unless you're in like the way nosebleed section.
But that's different. That's surrounding something in the middle. That's not being far off thing with multiple sets.
The camera adds length.
Oh, it adds 10 pounds.
Depending on where you're getting a shot from, it could be both.
But you think of this more like when we talk about plays and stuff, you know, like there's obviously, if you're sitting at a play and you're all the way to the right, you know, like you're going to miss things inherently because they're too far over and you're kind of flattened.
I hate when that happens.
If you're all the way to the right, is that stage left?
Yes.
Emily, confirm, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's your opposite.
Well, anyways, to move forward. So as this conversation is developing and going on, you keep getting to this running theme about how all men are perverts and sex maniacs and stuff. Kathy's trying to defend it and saying that's not the case. So Agnes starts talking about a time that her and Winnie went to some like film festival. They were they went to see what, Gladiator? Was it Gladiator they actually saw? Or The Graduate? They said both movies.
They said both. I think if they're going to a film festival, they're seeing The Graduate. I don't think Gladiator was playing at a film festival.
Is that the one with Russell Crowe?
Yes.
It is, yeah. Which
Okay.
I think there's a sequel to coming out randomly recently.
There is, yeah, but like new cast and whatever. So anyways, they're at this film festival and they're watching a movie. And apparently they're sitting there and this guy is sitting next to Winnie, like right beside her. And they said, guess what happens? 5 minutes into the movie, they look over, took his dick out. They're like, oh, dirty bastard. It's like, well, why didn't you guys get up and leave? She's like, I couldn't. He was using Winnie's hand.
I feel like the actress, Winnie, didn't, like, there's so much drinking in this scene, and I feel like it's literally just people taking the glasses to try to keep themselves from laughing and, like, keep themselves busy.
Yeah.
I don't think they were ready for that joke. The way the other actors in the shot reacted to that joke, I think he improvised that.
Yeah, I do too.
Jay, your version of it was pretty truncated. They go a long way around the corner to get to the punchline of that, and like it works very well because you have no idea where it's going.
Yes. Yeah, I couldn't one man show that whole thing. It was a very long story. A lot of back and forth. There's a lot of back and forth quick dialogue that happens throughout this entire show. So it's like it's tough to explain some of these conversations properly because it flashes back and forth so much.
Very dialogue heavy.
Yeah.
Until right now when Winnie takes one hell of a bump.
Winnie does take a good bump. We almost get a famouser, and then we get a good bump.
Eventually, Agnes does admit that that was a joke that Winnie did not jerk off this guy at the film festival.
What scene in The Graduate would you be like, oh, I'm horned up right now? Like, I don't know.
There's some sex going on, right?
Isn't there?
I mean, there's like the thigh scene.
I'm saying there's a lot more sex in Gladiator. A lot more titties.
Yeah, but if he was trying to, I mean, like, if you were turned on by a bunch of guys wearing pretty much no clothes, Gladiator is a movie that would get you going.
I haven't watched The Graduate in a very long time. Are there boobs in The Graduate?
I don't think so.
There's the pool scene, right?
There's the pool scene, but he jumps in the pool, I think, by himself with his clothes on. That's like the Hello Darkness Pilot Friend scene.
Right.
I probably haven't seen The Graduate since we were in high school.
We were in high school the last time I saw it too, yeah.
Been a long time, yeah.
Yeah, I don't even think I saw it in high school. I don't even think I saw
It's a great movie.
I'm glad you could admit that for once.
Yeah, I mean, I know the Simon and Garfunkel song.
It's a great soundtrack. The whole soundtrack is Simon and Garfunkel. It's great.
There's that whole scene that gets copied in Wayne's World 2.
Yeah, Wayne's World 2. Sorry,
Okay.
wrong wedding.
Kathy's going, yeah, well, I get things for situations like that. And she pulls out her taser. It's like, what the fuck's that? It's like, oh, it's my taser. And, it's like, I always have it with me. I give him one jab and that's it. He'll get electrocuted. And Ag's like, no wonder why she can't get a man. And then Winnie goes, vibrators. And like, wait, what? She's like, vibrators. Nowadays, that's what women get. They just get them vibrators instead to not deal with men. And Agnes is going off. It's like, well, you might need one that takes diesel. And you go, can you imagine her with a vibrator? And then she's like,
she does the like motion of starting a chainsaw. Like she's like pulling a ripcord and shaking. It's so fucking great.
Hey, Winnie, you coming to bingo on the bus? No, I'm on my vibrator. And she starts laughing to herself as she does them.
And again, I feel like this is totally improvised.
And that's when she gives Winnie the shove that takes her like right off of her seat.
Really pushes her hard.
She winds up and whacks her. Like
that's something you can get away with, knowing that like that's real life brother and sister.
Right.
She goes flying off that bench though. Damn.
After that, we flash to Agnes and she's on the phone in the living room. And it's Granddad must still be in the hospital. So she's talking, she's like, wait, what did he do? Because they said something about him being generous. And they're going over it like, what did he check off? Kidneys, heart, liver. And then she's talking to him. She's like, that wasn't the menu for food. That was a donor list. She
says breakfast menu too. Imagine waking up and being like, what do you have for breakfast? But like, I'll have some kidneys, liver, and heart.
More popular across the pond in general.
Sure.
Yeah.
But not even then, not a classic style breakfast. Heart's a tough one. I don't think people are eating heart.
This is, Brazilian barbecue chicken hearts are very popular.
I've had chicken heart before.
I've had chicken hearts.
I had to not know that it was chicken heart to eat it, but it wasn't bad.
Wasn't bad. Won't do it again. Now that I do know, I wouldn't want to do it. It's one of those funny things where this is like the disconnect, right? Like I think a lot of the jokes do translate, but then you wonder over there where it's more common to eat liver and different things of that nature, does the joke land differently because it's not as obvious?
Sure.
They eat beans with their breakfast. It's gross.
No, that's a good way to get your day started. You know how you drink the coffee, you get the poops. Now imagine coffee, beans, poop, and egg.
I know beans are popular over there. Are they served like the Boston baked bean style way? How are beans typically?
It's usually the green can of Heinz baked beans.
Yeah.
They look pretty red. Like I'm thinking of like Pete Townsend in the tub with the beans.
No,
but
they're like regular Heinz beans. Like regular, like what you would eat with hot dogs.
I don't eat beans like that. I eat beans when I'm eating like Mexican food and stuff like that.
Oh, baked beans with hot dogs is great. I'm pro that for sure.
I
don't
hate
like
baked beans.
I'm with Ferg. I don't like baked beans at all, but I love like black beans and stuff. Like I'll eat all day
You should try baked black beans.
with like barbecue sauce.
Sure, you'd be tooting.
Is that what baked beans are essentially? Is it like just beans and barbecue sauce?
I think so. It's like it's not barbecue sauce as much as it's like. I guess it's a type of barbecue sauce though, because it's like the sweet.
It's like
vinegary.
it's like the sweet, yeah.
I think that's Carolina's.
I'm sure in
maybe?
theory I would
Yes.
like them. It's just I got this mental block and it's too late.
Beans and hot dogs, always good. How'd you get the beans over the Frank?
Oh, something about Mary.
Now there's a movie I haven't seen.
Really?
Yep.
You've never seen something about Mary?
Nope.
Well, it's like one of the funniest movies of all time, man.
Yeah,
You
it's
gotta
like
watch that.
regarded as like one of the best comedies of like our generation.
Nope. That Meet the Parents, I've only seen bits and pieces of.
So you have a Ben Stiller issue.
Meet the Parents is not great though. Like something about Mary.
Oh,
is a
yes, it
very
is.
funny
I love
movie.
Meet the
I mean,
Parents.
it's not bad, but it's not the level of something about Mary, Farrelly Brothers type comedy.
See, movies and TV, I just haven't seen a lot of, except like with Ferg, like the time we watched Back to the Future.
And you used to come over. We used to rent Repossessed all the time and watch that.
I've seen that a million times.
I know.
Also, literally, like every time we'd have a half day, we'd go to Ferg's house and rent like 3 movies. We did that for like 10 years of our lives, and somehow none of that stuck in your brain.
And I would say too, for people who are listeners of our show and have been listening for a while, when we go back to like when we were much younger, like there was a time where me and Joe were together side by side most of the time, and Ferg and Gordo were always together all the time. And most of the times that Ferg and Gordo were hanging out were spent at Ferg's house, and they were mostly watching TV. So you would think that Gordo would have a little bit more in his bank because there were like years and years of Gordo just watching TV at Ferg's house.
Nothing
Correct.
Nothing stuck in your brain. It's so
He retained all the Nick at Night. We watched a lot of Nick at Night.
No, I mean, we watched tons of movies.
But do you remember any of them?
Nope.
There it is. Therein lies the problem.
We used to rent Leslie. I was gonna say Repossessed. That Leslie Nielsen movie we used to rent all the time. Ernest Scared Stupid. Didn't matter what time of year, we'd always rent it.
The only Ernest movie you can't watch all year round is Saves Christmas. That one feels weird, but you can watch Scared Stupid any time of year.
I love Scared Stupid. I'll watch it any time of the year.
Miak.
Genuine Miak.
Mere booger lips.
Bumper sandwich, booger lips. Group tattoo. Call it.
So anyways, to get back into this, while Agnes is on the phone, this is also Kathy and Betty are both over the house, and they're talking for a moment. They're running off to go like shopping or something like that. So the two leave. Before they leave, Kathy tells her mom like, hey, can you charge my taser for me? And she's like kind of telling her like, you know, red light means out, then you plug it and like you do all this stuff. And she's telling her how to use it. And she's like, okay, got it. So she goes to plug it in when the two leave. Obviously, like we're in a very obvious situation when she's handing her this taser. You figure it's going to come into play at some point.
Yeah.
Not in the way I didn't expect the way it came into play, and it got me.
But yeah, right. And then right before they leave, there's a quick dialogue that gets us into like one of those next scenes where they're trying to figure out what to do with Dermot and Maria again. Betty was like, oh, I have an idea. Like, Kathy, aren't you training to be a psychologist? Like, why don't you do some counseling with them? Agnes isn't like so into that idea, but you know, it's like, oh, you know, I'll talk to him. Maybe we can do some counseling. So the two leave. She's like trying to stop her daughter from attempting counseling. She's like not really on board with the idea of the counseling thing. So she's distracted as they're leaving, trying to talk her out of it. She's like, wait, Kathy, like we need to talk about this. Phone starts ringing. Phone's ringing. She goes to get the phone, walks over, picks up the taser, and it's still like, and they do a good like moment like where they don't do it right away, and she like turns back around and goes back to the conversation and is like calling for her daughter again. Finally, like goes to like answer the phone and puts the taser up to her head, and you get the, like the big zap, and like, you know, she turns like blue and hits the floor. Like they do like a nice little quick like sight gag with that.
They do, and they do a really good job with like the TV cameras too with that. Like they make like the little lightning bolts and stuff. I don't know how that translated.
For a show like this that has like no like effects and stuff for the most part, to have that one electrocution thing and it like visually worked pretty well. Like I was happy with that.
And the fall he takes, he falls so fast.
Yeah.
I wonder how that looked in the studio though, right? Because like the smoke is digital and the electricity is digital. Like, was it funnier to watch it without the effects?
Yeah, well, that's what I was saying.
You still have Agnes just kind of like doing the physical comedy of taking the drop. So yeah.
What's the smoke digital? There might have been a smoke machine behind the couch.
Oh, they could have been.
He goes down behind the couch.
It looked digital to me. My digital DAR was going off a little bit because you know how I feel about bad, not realistic effects. So I could be wrong, but it looked digital to me. Also, the copy we were watching wasn't the cleanest copy, so.
Yeah, that's true too.
I thought this one wasn't that bad for the most part.
I mean, it's much better than the version on YouTube. I had to watch it. I wanted to watch it again. So I had it in my brain at dinner and I had to watch it on YouTube. And somebody did the thing where they made like the entire show just one rectangle so that like YouTube wouldn't copyright strike them. So you kind of see it not that great anyway.
She's on the ground. You get that shot where you can see like the couch and her like lifting herself from behind the couch. And now her hair is like all over the place because she was electrocuted. And she's like shaking wildly as she like goes to like actually pick up the phone.
Do you think this was like he went down, they stopped recording, they put makeup on him and changed his wig? Or do you think they did one thing where he went down and switched?
I think it was a matter of either switching a wig or like grabbing some quick hairspray and just, you know, wiping something on your face. Like you could do that in real time pretty easy.
Yeah, I think it's a wig because the way that it stands up, it's already like hard. If he had just put hairspray in it.
No, it's definitely a wig. I wasn't sure if they did it all in one take.
Oh, I think so.
I think so, yeah. I think she's put a funny wig on down there.
Yeah, I think when you get back into the idea of like how so much of this is set up like it was a stage show, that I would assume they're thinking with that mindset. How do we do this quickly?
I think too earlier, because they mentioned the joke with him and Winnie that like she looked like Cilla Black and he looked like Ken Dodd. Ken Dodd is like an English comedian from the 60s whose whole thing was like crazy wild hair. So I don't know if that was like a way to sort of put that in your head. He's like a wacky comedian who had like Yahoo Serious hair. So I feel like maybe that was a reference to that.
What is Yahoo Serious?
Remember Yahoo Serious? Young Einstein played on Comedy Central like literally after school 3 times a week when we were kids. He was an Australian comedian who had a few movies.
Yes.
He invents the electric violin in Young Einstein.
No.
Ferg, are you with me on this one?
You mean Young Frankenstein?
No, Young Frankenstein is a different movie. Do you remember Young Einstein that played on Comedy Central all the time?
With Walter Matthau?
No, this is Yahoo Serious. Am I lost? Have I lost everybody here? That was like, did only I watch
I
this
have
movie?
no idea what you're talking about.
Look,
I remember Modest Yahoo.
This is different. This is very,
I remember
very different.
Yahoo.
Yeah.
Now she finally picks up the phone and she's like shaking. And after all this, it was apparently a wrong number. And she's like yelling because the person is like, "No, you have the wrong number. Are you fucking deaf?" And it turns out it was like the local priest. So a big no-no. And then just for like the added little extra giggle for the audience, hangs up and then zaps herself again and hits the floor.
On purpose this time, though?
Yes. Apparently this one was on purpose.
This felt on purpose, yeah.
So now we cut to later, and now this is the therapy session of sorts. And it's Kathy with Dermot and Maria in the living room, and Agnes is there as well. Agnes is being very vocal about how she thinks this is unnecessary, and like they didn't do counseling back in her day, and they just kind of sorted things out on their own. Kathy's trying to get things rolling, trying to tell Agnes like, "Hey, maybe you shouldn't be here when we actually start this." She's like, "Oh, don't mind me. I'm gonna just be a fly on the wall. Like, not gonna bother you." Bzz, 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 and does all this stuff.
That God, every time they made the bzz, 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 bzz sound,
There's a lot of fly sound effects in this scene, yeah.
that made me laugh for some. And I know it's so stupid, but it made me laugh.
And then Kathy's like, "I think everyone would be more comfortable if you weren't here." And she goes, "Well, it's a pity that everybody doesn't pay any fucking rent," which I thought was a great line.
And also, like, one of those situations where you're like, it's hard to argue that. You're in my fucking house.
So it was like, "Don't worry, fly on the wall." And then before Kathy can get another word out, she's like, "Hey, you never gave out any badges." And she's like, "Badges?" Like, "Yeah, like, supposed to have the badges where it's like, oh, my name is Agnes Brown. I'm a lunatic, whatever." And she's like, "No, we don't give out badges for this. There's no need for them." Like, and they get this like gigantic fucking argument over the badges because she feels like everyone needs to have badges. And Kathy's trying to explain, like, it's just a few people and everyone knows each other. We don't need these badges.
Does she mean name tags?
Yeah.
Yes.
But
Okay.
badges, though, in English parlance, like, this is a badge, right? Like, I wear a button on everything, right? And you, in American terms, like, I wear a pin on all of my clothes, but they're called badges there. But I think maybe it also means stickers? But was this also a long way around a "we don't need no stinking badges" joke? That's what I felt like this was like.
Yeah, I felt like that too. I was waiting for it.
Like, this is like a Treasure of Sierra Madre riff, right? Like, Blazing Saddles, badges.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
I don't know if that's not what flagged my ear in the moment. Doesn't mean that's not the case, but like for me personally, I didn't pick up on that. But like I did like just the way this whole argument was evolving, and she won't let go of the fact that, her daughter didn't get badges for this event. And then finally, like, Kathy kind of snaps on her and she's like, "We don't need the fucking badges, like, just let it go." And then Agnes flips and is like, "Kathy, calm down. You're making something out of nothing. Dermot, you don't need badges, right? Marie, you don't need a badge, right? I don't need a badge. Like, fuck the badges. We don't need them." So now Kathy's like, "All right, let's get started." She's like, "Maria, why don't you go first?" And now Agnes cuts in again. She's like, "Well, shouldn't Dermot go first? Like, he lives here. Like, I think he should go first." And she's like, "No, like, there's a system. Like, don't interrupt. Like, Maria's going to go first." She's like, "Well, what's the system? I don't get it." She's like, "It doesn't matter who goes first." "Well, is there a system or does it not matter? Because you're saying now it doesn't matter."
This rant about how pilots would react is fucking insane and so great.
Oh, yeah, because she's just like, like, "Oh, what if the captain said it didn't matter?" And it's like, "Excuse me, Captain, whatever your name, like."
Because you don't have a badge?
She does like, "Whatever your name is, because you don't have a badge on." Are the wheels down? Oh, it doesn't fucking matter. Like, I don't know. I love that. Again, it is the essence of like the nagging mother and the mother that won't let certain things go too. Like, it's like the badges, I think, was like such a good example of that. Like, there's that whole initial rant, but to have the callback to it a minute later, like, we can't get past this one little thing, is very like spot on. So I did like that.
And like I said, when she brought the pilots and wrapped the pilots into the badges, I lost it.
And again, it's hard to say, like, was that written, or is that just like this dude's so fucking funny and so quick that he just like rolled with it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to tell. I mean, I don't know that much about the show, so I can't honestly answer it. Maybe someone listening can.
So now Kathy's getting frustrated. She's like, whenever I try to do my own thing, you always like interfere with it. And like, you won't let me just do my own thing here. And her mom's saying that she's getting paranoid. She's like, am I? And she's like, what about Teddy Brannigan? And they get into the story of like Teddy Brannigan, who was this guy that she had a crush on when they were younger. He just like, what was it? She basically just like sabotaged the idea of them talking, right?
Yeah. Yeah, because he rode a motorcycle or a scooter or something.
No, that was the thing. He didn't ride one. He just made noises like he did.
Oh, okay. All right.
She chased him up and down the street wearing a helmet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because she said like he'd go up and down the road at 2:00 in the morning going, meow, meow, and then goes, if he got a motorbike, he'd be dangerous.
Oh, I didn't get that. Okay. All right. That went right over my head.
But in the story of explaining the background of this, she says you were 16 years old, not a titty to your name, which fucking broke my head.
She said that she almost got her glasses so people would know which way she was facing.
And there goes Kathy with the two backs.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, in this conversation, she's trying to explain to her daughter, like, I saved you by like stopping you from like talking to that guy. She's like, you wouldn't have been happy with him. She's like, I'm not happy now.
This is another one of those like real moments in the show too.
Yeah.
Where you're like, oh fuck, this woman's like bummed out, you know?
Yeah.
And they're going on, and like the argument is intensifying, So now like Dermot and Maria are just kind of stuck here as these two are yelling at each other. And she's telling her like, it's not just Teddy Brannigan, like no man will ever, be good enough, right? Like, and she's like, oh, let me get my tiny little violin. And they're arguing more and more. And Kathy's like, you know what? Fine, I'm going to my room. She's like, fine, go to your room. And Kathy heads upstairs. As she's like going to go up to the stairs, like their shoulders bump really quick, like just like a grazing,
slightly bump each other.
And now this is when Agnes is like, oh, how could you do that to your mother? She's like, you beat me. Oh, Jesus. Like,
this also feels very Mrs. Doubtfire. Like,
it's gone dead. My arm's gone dead.
She's smacking the dead arm on things.
She's like, I can't look, it's spreading. And then she falls into the chair and the penguin head like goes over her head from earlier.
That was not expected.
When she comes back up with the penguin head on is when Dermot and Maria lose it.
Yes.
They are trying so fucking hard.
They're trying to hide their faces because they're trying to not break. And she's like, Jesus Christ, I've gone blind.
And this is when you can tell that they break. Dermot and Maria like fucking break because they put their full hands like over their head.
Yeah, they break too.
It's a lot of physical comedy, and it is funny. Don't get me wrong. I found it funny, but you can tell it's the type of physical comedy where he's trying to break everyone around him.
Yeah, it's on purpose.
Yeah.
He's not even playing for the audience. He's playing for the other actors that he's like trying to get them all to laugh.
I love that though. This whole performance from him is a tour de force, but this scene, I think specifically, is just like, let him go. And I'm sure you can't see very well out of that penguin head too. So like, then you're also taking the risk of like, you don't know what's going to happen.
Actually getting hurt? Yeah.
Yeah, like actually tripping and hurting yourself.
And when Kathy like runs up to her room and she's trying to chase after her and keeps falling and tripping, trying to go up the stairs.
The falling up the stairs thing made me laugh really hard.
So
because
good.
Falling up the stairs isn't something you can do on purpose very well, but when you do it by accident, it is so painful and so embarrassing. So like to be able to pull it off that well and look so real, I thought was like a pretty impressive piece of physical comedy.
That's when they lose full composure too. They're already laughing from the penguin head. When she starts falling up the stairs, they die.
And yelling. She's yelling the whole time she's falling up the stairs too, which I think really adds to it.
And then when she goes back to the two on the couch and Agnes is telling them like, you saw me, I was just minding my own business, and then she attacked me. This is because she forgot the fucking badges. And you know what? I'll tell you right now, if Jesus Christ appears to me right now and asks to sacrifice a child, she's fucking gone. So then she leaves the room and it leaves just the two on the couch. And because of how intense that got, and maybe being a reminder of what it's like to be around Agnes in general, it kind of unifies the two again, Dermot and Maria. They both say how they feel a lot better. And they're apologizing to each other. I shouldn't have put you in that position. Like, no, it's my fault. Like, you were right, Maria. I should have, moved out and lived with you. She's like, really? You mean that? Like, us living together? And she's like, and that's when Dermot's like, well, under one condition. And he asked her to marry him. With no ring, by the way.
No.
First thought, too, where I was like, I feel like, does it count without... I don't want to be like...
Yeah, everyone's in different, situations. But yeah, you needed something there. But she does agree. And then goes to kiss him. And he's so excited that he just jumps up. And it's like, oh, we got to go down to Foley's. And I could tell everyone. And, she's like, what the fuck just happened?
I believe it. Gordo, do you feel the same way? Because there's always the fear, you're like, what if they say no?
Yeah.
So when they say yes, you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
But did you not at least have the I do kiss? Or did you run away before that could happen?
I did, and I had a ring, too.
Yeah, I mean, I did too. I had a ring. But if my wife had said no, she could have also pushed me off a mountain, so...
That would have been awkward.
It would have been. It's only one way down.
Hey, if the no happens, that's a quick exit.
Exactly. No.
Do you think she'd hire a Sherpa to go back and get your body? Do you think you'd just be still there frozen to this day?
I mean, it wasn't that high up. It was over the Pennypacker Bridge in Austin, Texas. Because it had popped up on our TV, has Google Pictures, as backgrounds. And there was a picture from up there. And we were like, wow, that's really pretty. Where is that? Austin, Texas. Cool. And that's where I proposed.
I think mine is space right now, the background of my computer, so that would be a little tougher. Also, I'm single forever, so that too.
We bought a new TV and it just says TCV Roku, and I don't know where that is, so I don't know how I'd find that. I brought you to the Roku factory. Why are we in Singapore? What's happening? We don't want to do this.
Get back to work, Stuart.
Sorry, babe, we're done sewing these soccer balls. That's the Freddy got fingered right, too, sewing soccer balls in Pakistan.
Dermot and Maria leave. They're going to head to the bar and tell everyone about their new engagement. And as soon as they leave, you have both Kathy and Agnes enter the room again. And you hear them go, I think that went well. Kathy goes, yeah, Mammy, it did. That was a great idea. And we find out that this whole thing was this big staged argument. That was the plan from the beginning.
I wasn't expecting that. I
wasn't either. I like that it went that way.
Yeah, and it's sweet,
I wasn't
too, right?
expecting it, especially after the I'm not happy thing. That was a deep moment.
Yeah. But I kind of liked it because a show like this, which is supposed to be lighthearted, that scene did get a little heavy. So to end like that would have just kind of left you with kind of a weird feeling so late in the episode.
Also, that's a pretty risky plan. What if, the girlfriend was like, see, this is why I can't be with you. Your family's crazy.
I can't be part of this family. Yeah, this is too much.
Right, yeah, I'm fucking out. These people are nuts. See you later.
I feel like that would be a normal response.
But it was smart. If you think back, the whole thing is a story about how Agnes chased away someone that one of her kids liked. So that circles back to, Agnes chasing Maria away. You know what I mean? So it does all tie in. It's smarter than you would think a show like this would be.
You don't expect the full circle logic of it for sure, especially when it gets all wacky, every 5 seconds.
Agreed.
And you get a quick little banging while they're talking too, and that's Granddad from probably upstairs. And it's like, what do you want? He's like, I think I'm dying. It's like, yeah, well, let me know when you're sure.
I love that answer.
That's tough too, right? Because that's her in-law. That's the other funny thing about it too, right? It's not her aging parent; it's her dead husband's aging father. That's a weird situation to be in too.
Yeah, for sure.
After that, Agnes like, "Here, I have something for you," and Catherine's like, "What's this?" And it's like, "Oh, it's a phone number. It's Teddy Brannigan's phone number." And she's telling her how she was down at her yoga class and she had heard a couple of people talking about Teddy Brannigan and how his wife left him with 2 kids a couple of years ago. And, it's not easy to be young and on your own with children and how she can relate to that. So she's like, I thought maybe you could give him a call and just say, hey, how you doing? And he'll go, oh, Jesus, I'm cheered up now. All right, thanks, bye.
Another full circle moment too, where I didn't expect that loop to be tied up from the beginning, where she's like, you know, it was hard raising all these kids, a single widowed mom.
It's actually, as I don't think about it in the moment, and then as we dissect it, it's like there's a lot of really smart tie-ins that are happening throughout this very goofy show.
It's very well written for being so fucking insane, yeah.
Kathy's very touched by, you know, the gesture, because this was despite the argument being staged, it sounds like this was a real situation that did happen, and that this was a guy that she liked when she was younger. So she's telling her mom, like, you know, thank you, you know, I really appreciate this, you know, I do. She's like, I know you do. That's what we do. Mother is like, that's what we fucking do. And and Kathy leaves, and you have just Agnes to the audience, and just gives you like that last bit of dialogue, like to us. And she says, like, you know, I'm not a cleaner or a businesswoman. I'm a mother, and that's what we do. And then says, like, but he's still a fucking thug. Like, she doesn't like this kid. And Kathy from a distance outside the room is like, who are you talking to, Mammy? Like, nobody, just myself, you know, nobody important. And then wishes us, the audience, a good night.
A very stage ending.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Like I said, I said it a few times. You could tell he's used to writing for the stage.
Yeah, they even do the curtain call at the end.
Yeah, they all come out.
I was going to bring that up too. Yeah, during the credits, you're seeing everyone curtain calling, and which a lot of shows do for live studio audiences. You just don't always see it.
Yeah, you just never see it, really.
Sometimes, like, bigger shows would show you it, like, on the 100th episode or the season finale or things like that. And I, again, kind of going back to what we were talking about earlier, loved when that would happen. Like, it was an episode of Fresh Prince, and you see them all waving, like, just being themselves at the end of the episode. Like, those little peek backs, like, when I was a kid, were, like, huge for me. I always got such a kick out of that.
It always makes you feel like you're part of something you shouldn't be.
Yes.
But yeah, that was, that's it. That's the entirety of the episode. Yeah, I mean, I don't have too much else to say about it because I didn't really have a lot of background in it. Other than we kind of covered its history. It's kind of gone through all media. The last season, season 4, series 4, I'm sorry, was only like a year ago. That was like a 4-episode series. Oh, wow. They seem to always have some sort of a Christmas special that seems to be a consistent, so.
The Brits love their Christmas specials.
Yeah.
I love them too, though. I spend the entire month from the day after Thanksgiving, from Black Friday on, it's pretty much all we watch is like every Christmas movie and TV show. So I'm kind of excited to have new ones.
It's funny because as Gordo mentions it, and you think about, you know, the handful of, you know, British comedies we've covered. So many of these shows do have these like one-off Christmas specials, and
even Doctor Who. Doctor Who does the Christmas special every year.
It's like, so what happens Christmas time? Like every fucking British comedy over the last 50 years, just all puts out like one-off episodes every Christmas. Like,
the weird thing about it that would always throw me, and the same thing with like Christmas music, is like you record that in like July, so you can like release it in time, you know? And it'd be very hard to get into the spirit of like, if you think of something like the Phil Spector Christmas album, right? Like these like very dense 60s sounding, a million people, like everything sounds like there's sleigh bells outside. Like doing that in like the California sun in June would be so hard to like not feel like you were just phoning it in.
They're actors.
Professionals.
The only other thing I do want to mention that we didn't bring up at the top of the episode before we do our green lights is to anyone who does have interest in watching the show, I think BritBox, I mean, you could find a lot of the stuff out there on the internet. It's not the hardest show to find because there is a fandom for it. But beware, this is a 29-minute episode, so this is a longer show, which I was a little nervous to do. It was so dialogue heavy, it wasn't the hardest to get through.
Yeah, I thought at first it would be like, uh-oh.
You knew it wasn't too bad because the episode didn't start with Joe screaming at you for 20 minutes about how long the episode was.
Correct.
Yeah, I liked this show, but when I see 29 minutes, my heart fucking drops. Because if you take notes for a show that's 29 minutes long, that means it's going to be 2 hours of taking notes.
It is a difference. Like, when you're used to those listening, like, the difference of watching a 22-minute episode show and a 29-minute, you go like, oh, it's 7 minutes. Like, what's the big deal? But when it comes to the notes and the recording and the prepping, the amount of extra time that ends up taking on the back end can be a lot.
And the editing for Gordo.
Yeah, because also, too, like, we'll know recording-wise, so puke back the curtain, we'll know sort of when we're turning the corner towards the end, and that's usually, like, about the same for 22-minute episodes. There's always, like, a point where you can say, like, all right, we're turning the corner and it's almost done. But with these, it's like turn the corner, and then you got a couple more scenes to then get to the end.
And every scene is something you have to talk about because every scene is banana.
Yeah, you can't shave 7 minutes of content out and just pretend it didn't happen.
I was actually fine with this until I hit the 20-minute mark, and I looked, and there was still 9 minutes. I was like, ugh.
I'll say, in full honesty, I didn't hate the show, but I did clock watch a bit because it was so dialogue heavy that it felt long.
A long time.
And like all like the like physical comedy and little stuff that we got towards the end was all towards the end. So for the most part, it was just a lot of talking until the very end of the episode.
I would love to know too, for any of our fans across the pond, the way most American shows work, they're 22 minutes because 8 minutes is commercials, but it ends up being 30 minutes. So for a show like this, it's 29 minutes. What is the commercial ratio? Do things start? I don't know, like turner time, like is it like 5 minutes past the hour? I'd very, very interested to know how that sort of plays out.
Yeah, hit us up, S1E1pod.com again has all our emails and all our socials. So I would recommend first just following us on social media and then hitting us up on Instagram or X or something like that. It's probably the quickest way to get a response out of us. But we take emails. We actually just answered email the other day. But usually people get us on Instagram and X. With all that being said, let's get into the green light or cancel because as much as we love you guys listening, we don't want to have 70-hour episodes. I'll go in the order I see you in, Ferg, starting with you.
All right. Well, I'm not used to going first. So I mentioned a few of the things I didn't like about this show. Wasn't wild about the breaking the fourth wall stuff. Little things that excess swearing. I don't mind swearing in shows like that. I thought there's a little bit too much. All that being said, I really enjoyed this show. The humor was my humor. Like so many other shows like this, I like watching. So it gets the green light from me despite those few flaws.
Joe.
Historically, I love British and Irish shows. I love this style of humor. So I came into this being pretty excited, especially when I didn't know what it was. We talked about it earlier. I think the fact that I was always on my toes made me enjoy this more than anything. I mentioned I was like, when he walks in as a penguin, I was like, if I paused it and someone said, just so you know, her youngest son is a penguin, and that's going to be played straight the whole way through, like I wouldn't have been surprised because they just kept throwing stuff at you. And it makes it kind of a fun, interesting watch to really not know what's going to happen next, especially when we watch a lot of very cookie cutter sitcoms. I mean, last week's episode was Joey and Sabrina, or whatever it was.
Melissa and Joey.
And like you watch that and you're like, okay, I can track every fucking moment of this before I even finish it. You know exactly where it's going to go. Something like this it's an interesting watch. It's crazy. And I always gauge things on if I go downstairs after I've seen it and tell my wife, like, we should watch this. It was fucking bananas, but in a good way. And this episode had that. Green light for this show. Green light for Penguin Son. I really did like it.
Gordo.
Yeah, I'm not going to rock the boat here. Gordo is your number one intercontinental champion. I think the S1E1 intercontinental champion for picking all these cool shows from across the pond.
I'll allow it.
Yeah, I'm the mid-card champion here. But no, this show...
That's the work rate champion. You're not the work rate champion, bud.
The workhorse champion, first of all. I do put in the work.
You're the European title champion right now.
Yes.
Maybe US
European,
champion.
yeah, you can have the
all
European
right,
title.
fine. I'll take European champion.
You're pooping.
You're the 24/7 title.
No.
Oh,
All right, let's take it home, boys. Let's take it home.
All right. My green light or cancel. Always mine. No, this show, I feel like we rarely do shows now that we're this far into our show where something so different jumps out at you. Like, this is a stage play that is a sitcom. That's also a sketch comedy show that's kind of like SNL, but it's kind of one fluent story. But it's real, and it sinks you in. Like, it completely suspends your disbelief. It's very well done. I'm over the moon with it. I'm definitely going to try and watch it. So, green light for me.
Yeah, so I went into this with like a negative approach because my only knowledge of the show, like I said at the top of the episode, my mom loves this show. It will always just show me random clips out of context. And me and my mom do not share like a sense of humor. Like, we're very different in what we find funny. So I was like, I've seen parts of this show, like I'm not gonna like it. It was refreshing. It was something different. It really was, and not a show I would typically envision myself like sitting down and watching. But the writing was a lot smarter than I realized, as I get into it. And I enjoyed the occasional fourth wall break, and it was funny. And we said it before, you have this middle-aged guy playing this older woman, and he does such a good job with the character and stays in it. Even though there's a moment where he breaks and says, "Hey, I'm a guy in a dress," mid-episode, you get lost in the character, and it's not like one of those, like, the gag isn't just that he's, hey, it's a guy in a dress, isn't that funny? That's not the joke. The joke is how he plays the character once he's in the dress, So I'm giving it the green light too, and I really didn't think I was going to before watching the episode, but it was fun to talk about. It was fun to watch. A little long and a little wordy for sure, but overall a good show. So regardless of Nick's vote, which you will see on a future social media post on S1E1 Pod on Instagram and X, congratulations to Mrs. Brown's boys. You are getting the green light because you are already at a 4 out of 4. Congrats again. You do live on to see another episode. I want to thank all of you guys for listening. I say it over and over. Please go to s1e1pod.com. Like, subscribe, review, rate, do all the things on all the things. It helps us a lot. And then outside of that, please just spread the word. Podcasting, it's tough to get your name out, in a world where it's us against all the celebrities who have shows now that take up a lot of your time. So if you dig our show, let us know. Let us know how you found us, and tell a friend. That's all I could ask of you. If you just tell a friend, that goes a long way. Thanks to everyone who listened, and we'll catch you again next week. Thank you. Goodbye.
I think we got the best Dr. Do Fuck All.